What's up YouTube? Welcome to Cars, Cost, and Technology. Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and review of the Vivitar DVR 794HD action camera. Just wanted to share some of my first impressions with you and go over some of the pros and cons of the camera. Just a little background story. I was thinking about picking up one of the GoPro models or Sony action camera for the channel, but when noticing the huge gap in price between this and those models, I figured it'd be worth checking it out and see if it's really that big of a difference. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the unboxing. So while opening up the packaging, just want to go over a few things with you. The first thing that drew me to this camera over some of the other models I was researching was just the price point and all the accessories that came with it at that price point. You actually get the camera, waterproof casing, a watch that serves as a remote, a bicycle mount, helmet mount, and wall charger, all included with the camera at no extra cost. So pretty impressive there, especially when you compare it to the accessories that come with some of the competing models. I'll include a link in the description to pick the camera up. It's available on Amazon and at Walmart. I was actually able to get it for just under $80, which is pretty impressive. So here's the remote control watch. Not the most premium watch you'll ever feel. It's a little flimsy feeling, but it does the job. You can see it's got 3 keys at the top. One for power, for powering on and off the camera, one for recording video, and one for taking photo, if I can get the camera to focus here. But pretty straightforward and simple. I'll show you a video on how that works here in a second. So here is the camera itself. Pretty good looking camera. Obviously this is inside of the waterproof casing. On first glance, you probably wouldn't notice the difference between this and especially some of the GoPro models, especially to the untrained eye. The waterproof casing does feel pretty premium and heavy duty. It's definitely got some weight to it. It doesn't feel flimsy or anything like that. Without the waterproof casing on, the camera does feel a little bit on the cheap side, but I think you want it to be light, especially a camera that you're using for, action purposes. So you've got sort of a carbon fiber wrap around the edges and a couple physical keys, power button, OK button, menu button, and a Wi-Fi connectivity button. On the other side, you've got all the ports. This does have a charging port, HDMI port, as well as a micro SD card slot. It also has a small display on the backside for showing a preview of what footage you're taking, but display is pretty bad, so I don't think you'd want to use it very often. It's more of just a general view of what you're taking. Just a side note on the micro SD card, definitely want to use a class 6 or higher micro SD card. The packaging does actually call for that. I tried using an old class 2 micro SD card that I had laying around. Definitely struggled taking 1080p footage. It seemed to keep stopping and not being able to write to the SD card quite fast enough. So when switching out to a higher class SD card, I didn't have the same issues, but just thought it was worth mentioning. Once you get everything all sealed up and powered on, the display, like I said, nothing too fancy, but it is nice to have, just so you can kind of get an idea of what you're taking. You can see on the front it does show you some things like a summary of how much longer you have for recording, shows you your battery life. As far as starting to record, pretty simple, just by pressing the OK button, and you can see the length of the footage at the top. The red indicator on the side does flash, letting you know that it's recording, but the screen will actually turn off pretty quickly after, just to save battery. As far as the physical keys, like I said, you got your menu button on the side there, OK button at the top to start and stop the recording. Once you jump into the menu, you can see you got the movie size, video quality, slow motion, white balance, just a couple of basic options there that you can adjust, as well as some other settings. Nothing too advanced, but still nice to have right there on board, so you can adjust for your footage. The camera does record in 1080p at 30 frames per second, 720p at 60 frames per second, or 720p at 30 frames per second. So of course, depending on what you're trying to shoot and how much available storage you have, it's going to determine how you want to shoot. I found myself shooting mostly in the 720p 60 frames per second just because it didn't take up quite as much storage. It also looked pretty good with 60 frames per second, so I thought that was a pretty good plus. Also want to show you a little bit around the application where you can access a similar menu, similar features. You do have to use the Wi-Fi connectivity feature to use the application, which isn't quite flawless. I did have quite a few hiccups with that. It's on the slower side, but still nice to have the ability to connect to it. I would personally prefer Bluetooth over the Wi-Fi option, but at least there's some type of connectivity there. So to connect to the camera for the first time on your smartphone, you actually turn Wi-Fi on, click the Wi-Fi button on the camera. It creates a Wi-Fi network that you connect to on your smartphone. Once you do that, you can open the application, and the camera is almost like a viewfinder for your smartphone. So you can see directly what's going through the camera. Pretty cool feature for setting up, a specific type of shot that'd be difficult to do, or you won't actually be holding the camera yourself. So I thought that was pretty nice, or to start the recording remotely. But you got a lot of menu options built into the application there. I did notice when using the application to adjust settings or to review footage, it seemed to kill the battery on the camera much quicker than just doing the standard recording. About half. It seemed like I could go 3 to 4 hours of recording without using the application, where when connecting through Wi-Fi and looking at the footage that I had recorded, it seemed to kill the battery in about 1 hour to 2 hours. So definitely a costly feature to use if you're out on the go and don't have access to a charger, but pretty cool, and it will give you the ability to get some footage that you probably couldn't otherwise. So as far as reviewing the content, you can see it right here in the Photos and Videos tab. Another thing I thought was sort of interesting is the videos are in MOV format, which would be great for an iPhone, but on an Android phone you do have to have a third-party video player. Normally that's going to be in MP4 format on an Android phone, so not a big deal though. I mean, you can download one of those for free. As far as the connection to the camera to get your videos, it does take quite a bit of time, so definitely would not record a lot of footage and expect to review it right on the fly. But anyway, as far as the rest of the application, pretty decent features. Obviously you get what you pay for, and considering that this is a pretty inexpensive camera, you can't expect it to be the most polished and perfect application, but I think it's a nice feature to have in there for free. Not the way that I would prefer to manage the camera. I'd probably rather just use the camera by itself with the SD card into my laptop, but there are going to be scenarios where having the application will be a lifesaver, allow you to get some extra footage that you probably couldn't have gotten otherwise. And that's really the whole point of this camera. I did want to point out that despite it not having the highest quality, I think the benefits of having an action camera are just the fact that you can get footage that you couldn't otherwise, whether it's mounted on your bicycle, on your motorcycle, on your helmet, mounted to your car. Having the ability to get that footage is just cool. Some of the coolest videos or most viewed videos out there are not necessarily in the best resolution or perfect quality, but it's just the ability to get that footage. But as you can see from the preview here in the application, in low-lit situations, the footage is pretty bad. When you have good lighting, it's way, way better. I will show some samples of footage from all the different accessories that I picked up right after we cover the watch. Wanted to show a quick sample of how the remote control watch works. There's a quick and easy pairing process to the camera, but after that you can use the 3 keys on the front to power on the camera, record video, or take pictures remotely. I didn't have a chance to test the range, so I'm not exactly sure how far it works, but in my office it worked pretty flawlessly. for turning on the camera, recording the video, taking pictures. So pretty impressed with that feature, and I can see where that would come in really handy for a camera like this if you were using it for something where you didn't actually have a chance to hold the camera, but you can see it powering on and powering off pretty instantly when I use the keys. So now that we've had a chance to cover the hardware and software of the camera, I wanted to go ahead and show some footage samples from the different accessories that I purchased. I tried to label each one so you know what you're looking at. Overall, I think they're pretty impressive, but I will go over a more thorough verdict at the end of the different samples. Hope you enjoy. I just wanted to point out, while submerging the camera for the waterproof test, my waterproof case did actually take in some moisture. Could have just been my case, I'm not sure, maybe I have a defect. I have to look farther into it, but I just wanted to point it out. So if you do pick up this camera, try to be a little cautious of that. I would be aware of it possibly leaking. So as you may have noticed, I actually caught some pretty funny footage while testing this camera out. I did enjoy using it over the last couple of weeks, and I will definitely be keeping it. I did have a couple of days to return it if I wanted to, but I think overall it serves its purpose and it's well worth the price. As far as recommending it for someone else, it's pretty difficult to say. I did include a photo comparison there at the end with the Vivitar versus my Galaxy Note 5, just to show that it does not take very good still shots. If you plan on taking a lot of just regular photos, I would recommend probably looking elsewhere. Also, if you're going to be taking a lot of videos in low lighting situations, probably not going to be your best option. I would look towards something different. But if you're going to be using it in the sun a lot outside, maybe on a bicycle, car, motorcycle, things like I did in some of the other sample footage, it does pretty good. And for the price, you can't complain. I think, it being under $100, it's not going to be something you'll be afraid of damaging or needing to replace, where I just don't know if I could do, the same water tests or put it on my motorcycle or put it on my bicycle or even mount it to my car if it was a $400 or $500 GoPro. So I have a lot of confidence in using it at that low price point, knowing that I could replace it if need be and still get some pretty cool footage. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the review. Definitely like and subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. I will put links in the description for pretty much everything you saw in the video, the Vivitar application, where you can purchase it, all the other information. So be sure to check that out. And definitely leave any questions in the comment section if you want to know some specific information or see some other specific details about the camera. Definitely let me know. I'd be glad to help out with that. But anyway, guys, that wraps up this review. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.